Thanks for the support as a channel member, Comrift. Hello folks and welcome back to another of these videos from the FM20 Early Access Capture event down at Sports Interactive's HQ this past weekend. Usual disclaimer at the start of these videos, this all was captured on an early access preview version of the game. It's all subject to change before the full game comes out, even before the beta comes out. But yeah, it's more gameplay stuff. And it came from down there. If you are excited about that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on the video. It really does help to support the channel. If you are new, firstly, check out the previous couple of videos because they go really super in depth on some of the bigger new features. But if you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, turn notifications on, all that kind of good stuff. And if you haven't yet pre-ordered your copy of Football Manager 2020, the link to do that at a cheaper price than on Steam is down in the description. It also supports the channel as well. So it's win-win for everybody. But let's not dwell too much on an intro today. Let's get into some gameplay and hand back over to past Kev down at Sports Interactive HQ.
Right, Cheltenham in the Carabao Cup. I don't care about the Carabao Cup. I have to be careful not to care too much, because obviously if we go back to the Club Vision page from before, the Carabao Cup is, we have an expectation for it. For the end of this season, we have to, as a minimum, reach the second round of the Carabao Cup. And they're currently reserving judgment on my performance against that goal. It's a desired outcome, and you can see it's got 3 of the 4 bars filled up. These ones are required, so it's not compulsory that we hit the second round of the Carabao Cup, but they would like it if we did. All that being said, I want to try out this new button that I've just seen on here, which is where if you go on the quick pick drop down, we've got all of the usual quick pick options, so you can pick different levels of rotated squad, do just a straight quick pick. But this is new. Pick youth prospects. That feels like the perfect thing for a competition like the Carabao Cup. I don't know what happens when I click it. It might be a terrible team that I'm not going to end up using. But if we go pick youth prospects, our 28-year-old makes it in. But that, how does that compare to a full rotated squad? So full rotation, it's very similar. Weirdly, Burrows hasn't got it. It's not made much of a difference, has it? And if we then click on our selection advice, if we go back to recommended, I'm going to take it all back and then use this. I was hoping it was just going to solve my problem and show me how to get Harrison Burrows into this team. But the other thing that we need to do before this match starts is get a secondary tactic available. Now, interestingly, since we made our first tactic, we've obviously signed 3 players, and that seems to have changed my assistant manager's recommendations for what tactics would be suitable for us, because previously he was recommending gegenpress, wing play or fluid counter-attack. Gegenpress has disappeared as a recommendation now, which is the one we're using, and been replaced by catenaccio. I have no idea what that is. I ain't using it because it looks defensive. In my experience, the further you get down here, the less like how I do things become. But I don't think it would hurt at all for us to have a secondary tactic as a fluid counter-attacking if we hit that. And then again, we've got the options for picking any of these tactics. And of course you can create tactics the way you always used to be able to. You don't have to use the preset ones in here. That being said, on FM19 I only ever used the presets and tweaked them a little bit. I never did anything from scratch because I'm a lazy monster. But I think a 5-3-2, see, as much as that would be nice as a defensive option, it still doesn't get these wingers into the team. So let's set that up, but we still need a third one, because I think we're just going to have to do wing play, something I never tried to do in FM19, but we've got all these good wingers that we can't use, so let's train a 4-4-2 as well, and have these 3 different systems. Corners is something I'll worry about another day, but let's go back to doing a quick pick on there. Is everybody fit? Seems to be. Let's get into the game, see what happens. If we don't look fluid and creative and attacking in this one, because we have got 3 of the best attacking players in the division, And I assume, based on how good research has been on these games in the past, that is going to be reflected in game. And these are going to be very, very talented attacking players. They are 3 of the best players at the club star rating wise, but we're not getting the best out of them in the system that we're using at the moment. So it might be that we need to tweak things around a little bit just to get them scoring goals as fluidly as they do in real life. We had a little attack there, though, that led to a corner and a header from Tony that was saved, last-ditch save by the goalkeeper. But now it's Cheltenham who are actually getting some attacking going, and we need to nip this nonsense in the bud straight away. I don't approve of the other team attacking at all. Knight does exactly that with the ball over the top, getting a counter-attack going. Isa is in, Tony is behind the back 4 as well, and Tony does get his first goal of the season with an excellent assist from Tony. Huge credit has to go to Josh Knight there for the ball over the top. It's not just a lump forward, it's a ball over the top with purpose that finds the man who'd got in behind their defence. And from there on in, it was easy peasy. Isa he couldn't miss him. Tony's right there, ready to knock the ball into the back of the net. And that is exactly what he does. Talking of pitches, as I have on a couple of the previous matches already now, you can see how the pitch is starting to deteriorate. It's something I am going to keep looking back on in each match that we play, because I'm interested to see how it develops, whether it continues to get worse as time goes on, whether the damage moves around on it. I find the whole pitch damage thing interesting. You can see it really well from that angle, how it's being cut up as players run along it, and I want to see how that develops as the game goes on. We have just conceded a goal though. It's 1-1, 15 minutes on the clock. This troubles me. We shouldn't be conceding as many goals as we are, but even more importantly than that, we should be better going forward. We are a better attacking team than the game is showing us so far. I think we probably are going to try one of these 2 alternative systems in the second half. Madison with the corner now. Isa, I think, is fouled there. Is he? He is. We've won a penalty. Marvellous stuff. We're taking our time getting up and running for it, but it is Tony to take the penalty, and he scores, and it's 2-1 to Posh. 36 minutes in, Ivan Toney with his second goal of the game, second goal of the season, but more importantly his second goal of the game. And it is 2-1 to Posh, and hopefully we can build on that and go and grab a third, maybe a fourth. A fourth would be really, really pleasant, but just winning the game, that's the important thing. Let's try and win the game. We are still going to try one of the other tactics in the second half, just because I want to see the difference in how we play, doing something a little bit different. So again, we're going to guard against complacency, but we're now going to jump back to the tactics screen, and I think we're going to try this one, because I think it better suits the players who are already on the pitch, and I think we can probably rearrange it to be like that, and that should work. If we make him the inverted winger, because he's left-footed, so let's make him the inverted winger on that side. He can just be an ordinary winger over there, and if we switch these 2 around, Baluta, he should be able to do that because it's effectively what he was doing back there. And let's just see how this looks differently. So this is wing play. This is something I've never done before, but we have got good wingers sat on the bench ready to come on, in the shape of Dembele. Tazdemir can play as an attacking midfielder or out wide. The youngster Burrows obviously can do that as our Boyd, and Madison can both play out wide, even though they've both been playing central in the team early on. Tony now returns the favour to Isa, and it's 3-1, and it's almost a carbon copy of the goal the 2 of them combined to score in the first half, except this time Tony drifts wide, turns creator, plays it into the path of the on-rushing Isa. Their keeper sort of came for that, hesitated, was left in no man's land. Tony, again, similar to Isa, had a really easy crossing position to get himself into, and did exactly that, put us 3-1 up, and we're in control of this game now, as we should be, but I want to see more of this wing play that I've been promised. So I think it probably won't do any harm at all to bring on a winger. So let's move Boyd back into central midfield. Woodyard can come off for Dembele, and what else should we do? Should we have a look at Mark Beavers at the back as well, who hasn't actually played for us yet this season, so it'd be important to have a little look at him to see if he's any good. And here's Isa with the opportunity to get in behind again, but actually doesn't control the ball properly. Looking at the pitch, it hasn't really changed from where it was 15 minutes in. So I don't know if this is damage that accumulates over time and not necessarily during a match, or if we've just been gentler on it for the rest of the game than we were in those early minutes. But we'll keep monitoring it. The pictures interest me. Beavers now, ball over the top for Tony to chase, and Isa is making a run ahead of him as well, but Tony's beaten his man, takes the shot, doesn't manage to get anything from it, and Isa really should have taken a shot on himself there, left himself almost with an open goal in front of him and kind of bottled it a little bit. But we should be 4-1 up, and Isa should have his second goal of the game as well. Beavers again heading forward, but doesn't manage to get it past the man just ahead of him. And now Cheltenham coming down that left-hand side, and that is their second goal. And I think we're going to just nip back to the tactics screen again and switch to our 5 at the back system, which doesn't necessarily fit Dembele in very well. But Baluta can play back there. So if we stick him between those two, the only problem is we've now got 3 wingers playing as central midfielders. That's not going to end well for us, is it? I forgot to pause, and there's an attack going on while all this is happening. I'm going to really regret switching to this 5-3-2. I know I am, because it doesn't suit the midfield players we've got on the pitch at all. Joe Ward, who we've got down there on the bench, would actually fit into that a little bit better. Not reflected in game, of course. We'll stick him out at wing back. What's the harm? What harm can he possibly do out of wing back? Should be absolutely fine. And we are in a cautious mentality already. What can I do with... Don't mess with tactics, Kev. It's 3-3. And now we're going to go back to the original tactic. Have we even got players on the pitch now who can do it? Stick him there. Stick him out here. There you go. It's a mutant combination of all of them now, and you can tell I'm getting flustered because I just looked at where my camera is at home and started talking to it as if I was making eye contact with you, even though you're over there today. Stop moving. Just stay where I'm playing a new game. I can't handle you lot sitting somewhere different as well. It's too confusing for me. But we have a corner here in the 88th minute with the opportunity to go ahead again in the game, grab a last minute winner, and we don't even get to see the corner. Tell me this isn't going to go to a replay. Penalties, immediate penalties. How exciting. We get our first penalty shootout of FM20. Let's see how this turns out for us. There is only 2,400 people here. That is a pathetic turnout for a competition as prestigious as the Carabao Cup. It does accurately reflect real life though, to be fair. Tony now with his penalty. It's 1-1. Did we not have... Were those screens there for the last game? Well, we might have been playing away from home. I definitely remember seeing the umbrellas back there, but now it's big screens. Perhaps that's been built between the 2 matches. We brought them in especially for the Carabao Cup because people really want replays in this competition. Maddison with his penalty, and it is saved. Utterly unrealistic. I'm devastated. We're going to lose in a penalty shootout to Cheltenham. FM20 is not starting well for me. Old Pim makes the save though, and we're right back in this. It's George Boyd. He's obviously not going to miss his penalty because he's my hero. So he's not going to ruin me by missing a penalty. He's not that kind of chap. And there he is, 2-2. 2 more penalties remaining each, I think. Yes. Look at that. I can count. Excellent. Can Pim make another save here? He's dancing around, and he can. I mean, we're in with an opportunity of winning the shootout here. It's Isa still to take his. So Isa runs up and scores, and it's 3-2. 1 more penalty remaining each. It's the most nail-biting Carabao Cup first round game you've watched all day. We're all very excited by it, and hopefully Christy Pym can do the business one more time, make the save, and we won't even need to worry about a final penalty then. And that, of course, is the outcome that we're all looking for and hoping for. And O'Reilly, just ordinary Riley. This Riley steps up. He does score, so we are going to need to score our last penalty. I can't even remember who our penalty takers are. I just hit auto pick. So who have we got to come up as penalty taker number 5? It is new boy Baluta. I have no idea if he can take a penalty or not. He's been given instructions not to leave his own half. I'm a little bit upset he's ignored them and entered their half to take a penalty, and because of that he's hit the post. Send him back. Send him back to Brighton. Ridiculous. So this is penalty 6 now. And it's scored. I'm worried that we're going to get another one of these 22 penalty shootouts that I think we had on the FM19 early access capture event last year. I don't know if I actually put it in a video, but I had a super long penalty shootout then. Knight now stepping up, must score to keep us in the tie, and obviously hit that first responsibility, that's vision thing. We've been knocked out. Now this is going to be interesting. I can spin this. I've just deliberately got myself knocked out of the Carabao Cup. I was pretending all along because I wanted to see the impact it had on club vision, because we've now failed to meet one of the desired outcomes. So club vision, and there you go, we have a big red thumbs down for failing to reach that, which is a notable criticism apparently, but because we're on course there, they're all right. We should be okay. Right, big game coming up now. We are at home against Ipswich, who presumably are going to be one of the pre-season favourites. If we go to season preview, yes, favourites for promotion: Sunderland, then Ipswich, then Portsmouth. I think that probably seems about right. We're 6th, so considered favourites to get into the playoffs, which is Ryzen Baluta, also in the Media Dream 11, which shows just what a good signing he was by Barry Fry, who I was trying to sack earlier on in pre-season. Glad I didn't now. We've not changed our team. This is our set 11 really. At the moment, it's the one that Gavin Strachan thinks we should be using, and who am I to argue with a man like Gavin Strachan? What I'm going to try to avoid doing in this game. Ooh, I forgot about this rule. The match squad must have at least one player trained by the club. So we're going to have to get Burrows on. So we'll get him on the bench in place of Tazdemir, because they're similar position players, and get him onto the bench. It's certainly a rule from real life. It's not a rule that I've seen come up in Football Manager before. I don't know if that's because I've just not run into it or because it's not been in the game in the past. But I know in real life we spent most of last season with our goalkeeping coach sat on our bench, who's in his 40s, but he came through our youth team back in the 90s. Then had a long career with us, but then went off and played for Luton for goodness knows how long, came back as a coach, and we just sat him on the bench as our backup goalkeeper because he did come through our youth team. So it's definitely a rule from real life. Isa now beats his man, plays it into Madison with an audacious effort from long range, and it's well saved by the Ipswich keeper. The Western Homes Stadium looking a little bit fuller today than it was for the last match, which is rather splendid. We only got 2,400 people turn up for the Carabao Cup game. I'd like to think for a big league match we should be pushing 5,500 people. Guion Edwards, a former Posh player, is considered a big goal threat for Ipswich. Well, we need to make sure he doesn't score. It'd be very upsetting to have a former Posh player come in and score against us. It would upset me greatly. We make it to half time, no score, 59% possession for us, but once again, and I've talked about this in a few of the games now, we're just not creating anything. And we should be doing better than this going forward with the attacking players that we've got at our disposal. So I think I am going to go back to the drawing board tactic wise and try and figure out how we can maybe do something different to just offer us a little bit more creative oomph. Isa now running at the Ipswich left back, and then despite having Ivan Toney in the middle waiting for a cross, just kind of launches it into row Z. Very upsetting. Butler now plays it forward to Toney. Toney back to Boyd. Boyd from range, and it just skims the top of the crossbar. And we are looking most likely to score, but imagine being a paying ticket holder for a game like this that's had 9 shots in total. We're into the 70th minute, between the two teams there's only been 4 shots on target in the entire game. We're certainly nullifying the opposition, but not really creating anything. We're going to get new boy Biamu on, and we're also going to bring on Harrison Burrows as I continue to try and force his development. And you know what? We're going to make it a triple. We're going to bring on Dembele, and if we're going with a target man up front, we're going to adjust the tactic around him, make him an inside forward, he can be a winger, and Biamu can just be there to hopefully facilitate the two of those two working together to try and create something for us. I think we probably wouldn't do any harm having a little bit of 10 minutes of passion to finish things off as well, but it is looking most likely that it's going to end in a draw. And it does. Well, just wasn't our day. I need to go back to the drawing board and figure something out tactically before we drift too far away from the teams that are starting to establish themselves in a promotion push. Although, remember, it's no bad result against Ipswich, but we haven't actually won since the first day of the season, and we're not scoring goals. 2 goals scored in the first 3 league games. I know we've only conceded 1 in that time. That's not the kind of team I want to build. I want an attacking, free-scoring side, and hopefully you'll see that in the next game against Southend.
Which is where we'll pick up with tomorrow's video. Hopefully you've enjoyed having a real in-depth look at the match engine on today's video, showing a couple of matches, having a look at a couple of the more hidden newer features in there as well. That substitute thing, I'm pretty confident hasn't been in Football Manager before. I haven't looked it up, but I've certainly never seen it before. And there's more little bits like that you don't necessarily notice unless you really get into the nitty-gritty of the game coming up over the next few days as well. So hopefully you have enjoyed it. If you have, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager 20 content. Loads of stuff coming, especially as soon as that beta drops, whenever that beta drops. I still don't know, by the way. I still don't know when the beta's dropping, but subscribe for loads of content the moment it does. Plus, obviously, the continuation of this little mini series that we've done on the early access. And thank you very much for watching.